Libra, this message is for you. I identify so often with being a Cancer sun and Cancer moon that I forget sometimes, and I think I attribute what is really part of my Libra to my Cancerian, because I always identify so deeply with Cancerian. But the truth is I'm a Libra rising. And I looked really deep and hard this week into understand what you guys are going through. And what I realized is one of the most prominent parts of who I am is Libra. Because every single time I go into a situation, no matter how bad it gets or how rough it is, I feel an overwhelming urgency and need to make sure that everything is okay. That everything goes well. That whatever is harmed or hurt or imbalanced, whatever has been thrown off or put out of whack, is somehow put back in, is somehow made well and made right. That when I enter a room, I make sure that that room is more whole and complete when I decide to walk out of it. That is 100% my Libra rising. That is 100% you guys. And there is a tremendous feeling in me for this week ahead for Libra. To say to you, not only thank you for your constant contribution to remind us always that beauty exists even when things get ugly. That things like love and faith are all around us, even when we feel lonely and isolated. That things like horrible things, like the shootings that went on just last week, can happen and somehow still share the message that so can beautiful things like charity to others and just holding each other's hand and reaching out, giving each other a hug, or the bonding that comes together after horrible things happen, where communities start to pitch in and start to care about each other more. It's a very Libran mindset to point out the beauty, even in the dark times, to point out how marvelous the world still can be, even when it's not showing its best self. Libra, this week is your week because you bring that energy every time to every situation you go into, whether it's work, home, or job, that energy of always making things right, of absolutely needing to make everything right and feel good for everybody. Here I'm going to say, Libra, this is your week to say, what about you feeling good? This is your week, if there's ever been a week, for you to be able to break down and cry. Give up hope just for a second, because you won't for long. Let go and scream and yell. And just melt for a second. And let all that you have to absorb in order to make your environment regain balance, let it all out. Give it back to the universe. Because the universe wants to take that weight off your shoulders this week. Okay? You bear a lot by bearing the weight of balance. You bear a lot by bearing the weight of optimism. This is your week to really apply your balance to yourself and accept and love that darker side, that more isolated side, maybe a little bit of pessimism. Accept it and understand it and own it as part of who you are and part of what makes you beautiful. Even balanced scales have a shadow. And I want you to allow it to come out this week. Not on people or to harm people. but to feel that well-deserved release of somebody who has battled and is always battling for the best for everybody else. How deserving you are of just being able to, for once, not be the one that bears the weight. Puts the weight off your shoulders for a second. This is that week, Libra. This is this week. And no, everybody around you, I think they lean on you a lot, right? They lean on you a lot for your positivity and your strength. And sometimes they don't even know how much they're leaning on you. Though you do have a pretty good level of self-respect and ability to make people see reason and make people see your value. But still, it always comes in the form of positivity and optimism. There is a great burden growing inside of you, Libra, and this is the week to let it out. This is that week. This is the week to allow yourself to be hurt. This is the week to allow yourself to be disappointed. This is the week to allow yourself to let somebody else bear the burden of balance for just a second. Are you ready? We have a full moon in Aquarius, your fellow air sign. Aquarius is consummately dedicated to higher thoughts, philosophies, friendship, and doing good. And you as well. You like to do good for others. Harmony is your key. Harmony is your tune. Harmony is your song. Yes, yes, all of this is just pouring out and spilling out for you. Wow. And that's what I want really to happen this week, is for you to let it all pour out and spill out. Because I think there's been a lot of stress that you've been holding in. And it's time. It's time to let yourself heal and respect yourself and honor who you are. Okay? Let the divine spirit come in and guide you and help you and balance you. Let it come in and bring you peace. Let it come in and bring you back to that light-hearted, beautiful, optimistic, just natural beauty that you can be. By allowing yourself to purge. This is that week where you just need to do you, right? To not walk into a room concerned about how everything in the room makes you look, how everything in the room reflects back on you. Let everything in the room be somebody else's problem, be its own problem, okay? You've been through a really rough patch, Libra. There's been something going on in your life that has been a tremendous burden. And it has taken a little bit, a chunk out of the way that you feel about yourself. Or maybe you've allowed yourself to be a little bit degraded in how you've been treated, which is not like you either. But this had to do with somebody that clearly you cared about a lot. Okay? What you need now is peace and release. And a lighthearted playfulness to come back into play. But that's not going to happen until you release out to spirit. And just hand over yourself. And trust in the word of whatever God you believe in. Of the moment of the full moon. To heal your heart. This is that time. I'm not telling you to break away from a husband or boyfriend or wife or sister, mother, brother. I'm not telling you to break away from anybody, break up with anybody. I'm telling you to put down the burden of all their struggles and hardships, because I see here that you have had tremendous burden and hardships on you from the people in your life. And you have been their lucky coin. You have been a great asset to them. You have healed them. You have helped them. You have encouraged them. This is the week to take all that you've had to absorb to do that and purge it and let it out. And give yourself peace. Give yourself wholeness. And return yourself back to that empty scale that's balanced naturally, that's weightless naturally, that's happy naturally, that knows how to have fun and be playful and be quirky, and can focus on those beautiful, more cranial, philosophical aspects of this Aquarian full moon that's just going to burst and pop. You know, all eyes are going to be on the bigger picture. And then you have so much to add to that. But not if you're struggling and burdened with all this extra weight that you've picked up over the summer. Okay? Libra, as we approach closer and closer to the season that you usher in, we're reminded that hard work and toil has to be met and balanced with harvest and festivity and relaxation. And so I'm telling you to take a little bit of a harvest. I'm telling you to take a little mini break and release from yourself, because, okay, finding your voice, this has been a real struggle. You've had to hold back a lot of who you were and who you'd want to be. Even in some ways, you've had to hold back your positivity. You've had to hold back this message of hope and love because you've been surrounded by somebody or some things or a situation that has been so murky that all your energy has gone into like being the vacuum to clean that all up. And now this clearing out is like it's purging out that bag from the vacuum. You've got to get rid of all the dirt. You've got to let it go. You've got to let that weight go, because this voice needs to shine. You need to rise again. You need to remind us exactly who you are by bringing back your beautiful spirit of showing us how you balance out yourself first and foremost. That, you know, you're not always the one that has to bear the burden of bringing the room back into happiness or bringing the room back into optimism. I want you to lay your burdens down, like I said in the channeled message. I want you to lay your burdens down this week. There has been a tremendous amount of suffering with somebody that you love, somebody that you are very, very concerned with and care about, and you have literally been their filter. You've been their filter, you've been their shelter, you've been their good luck charm, you've been their everything. You have been that almost life support for them to be able to come back into balance, to be able to feel themselves and feel their self-worth. And you know what, Libra? It's worked. You've done it. You've done it. You've given them back the power, and you've given them back their independence. You've given them back their self-esteem. You've given them back their sense of who they are and how they're loved. You know what's time for now, Libra? Let spirit take over. Believe in this person's strength and let spirit take over so that you can unweigh yourself and get back to being playful and generous of voice and spirit. I want you to sing out loud. I want you to share your tales and share your stories and talk. I want you to be that person who is beautiful and glamorous and unabashedly themselves. You've been squashed. You've squashed yourself to help make this other person feel good, to bring all the attention to them, you know, to bring balance back to them. You have muted who you are. It's time to bring back your light. Libra, it's time for your shine. It's time for all eyes on you. It's time for all the beauty and the love in the world to be reflected back on you. It's time for people to love you again. This is the time. This is the moment. This is when you open up your voice and share it with the world again. This is when you show, you put back on that dress, you put back on that flare, you put back on your ruffles and your feathers, and you walk into the room on the arm of this person that you love, knowing that they're strong enough now to be with you fully and be with you completely without you having to be diminished in any way, shape, or form. Okay? And if this isn't a person, if this is a job, then it's time for you to get back to, yes, I deserve this position as director. Yes, I deserve this promotion of VP. Look at all I've done. This is my creation. And I've allowed you to take it. I've allowed you to go with it. All my ideas have been your ideas. Why? So that we could prosper. Because I knew I was right. Because I knew my ideas would work. And we would prosper together. And now it's time for me. It's time for me to be back in center stage again. Being whole and complete. It's time. This is that week, Libra. This is your week to unburden yourself of the burdens. To unburden yourself with the stress of absorbing all the negativity so that positivity could and balance could happen. It's not your problem anymore. It's not your responsibility. That weight has got to be over because it's taken a great toll out of you, and you need to shine again. You do. You need to shine again. You need to share your voice. You need to be heard again. You need to be unmuted, Libra. You need to be flying high and fabulous. This is 555. This is the change that you have to enable this week for yourself to go through. Change back. There are no consequences. Don't even think about them. There are only consequences if you don't. Because then we have a diminished Libra. And that gets real scary, real fast. Dangerous and no. No. I think you might have a little helper. You might have a little reminder this week. It may not be it may be a word from a friend. It may be a word from one of your children. It may be a word from a video that you see online. It's a little pick-me-up that brightens your day and makes you realize you need to put your crown back on your head. You know, it's that little reminder of, you know, like a little child saying, "Mommy, how come you don't wear this anymore?" And you're like, "Why don't I wear that anymore? I look good in it." It's that little tiny moment that just sort of ignites your heart again and ignites that heart space. I think this is a very healing week for you. I think it's a very purifying week for you. It's a beautiful waters of truth. This Aquarian full moon is just going to spill out, you know, to cleanse with truth, with justice, with understanding of a bigger picture, broadening of people's minds and perspectives. It's going to clean things out so it doesn't have to be your burden anymore. It doesn't have to be. This is going to be a really refreshing time for you. And it's a refreshment that you absolutely deserve. So Libra, sing. Sing a song, let your voice out again. Let us see once again the glory and bounty of your beauty, and let your feathers fly. Don't be ashamed anymore. Don't hide who you are, not even for one more second. You have to be all of you. And that means putting down other people's responsibilities. Libra, if you want to follow me over to Vimeo, I'll continue this message. I'll dig a little bit deeper into some of these details using tarot cards, and then I'll also pull a whispers of love and maybe more oracle cards to do a specific romance reading. It will be for singles and for couples. The messages that will come out, I will share that over on Vimeo. If you don't decide to go over to Vimeo, watch this again and watch it again on YouTube until you hear and really believe and understand it's time for you to let go. It's the burden's done. I want to take a shower. I want to get my nails done. I want to fluff out my hair. I want to put on my feather boa that I haven't worn in 20 years. And I want the world to see this beautiful, bright, beautiful me again. I bring peace to others, and this week I can unburden it. I can be unburdened of that burden and bring peace back to myself. All right, Libra, I'll see you over on Vimeo.